Oh, sleep and visit in dreams once more the loved ones nestling at home. They may yet live to dream of you, cold, lifeless, and bloody. But this dream, soldier, is thy last. Paint it brightly, dream it well. O northern mothers, wives, and sisters, all unconscious of the hour, would to heaven that I could bear for you the concentrated woe which is soon to follow. Would that Christ would teach my soul a prayer that would plead to the Father for grace sufficient for you. God pity and strengthen you, every one. Yours in love, Clara.
Clarissa Barton was born 4 days before Christmas in the small town of North Oxford, Massachusetts. Her experience in nursing was started at the young age of 11 when she lovingly cared for her brother, David, after he fell from the rafters of their barn.
Clara, she was the sweetest sister a brother could have. I was hurt real bad after my fall, not just my leg, but the inside too. I couldn't work on the farm and support my family. She gave me medicine, brought food and water when necessary, and even applied slimy leeches when the doctor told her to. She cared for me with such gentleness and love. I'm so glad she's my sister. I couldn't ask for anyone better.
Clara Barton is perhaps most famously known for her work on the battlefields of the United States Civil War, where she nursed and tended to injured and dying soldiers. The battlefield, however, was considered a man's place. Every position of the army had always been men, from nurses and surgeons to the soldiers themselves. But Clara Barton did not let this stop her, and surged ahead despite this standard.
I have an almost complete disregard of precedent and a faith in the possibility of something better. It irritates me to be told how things have always been done. I defy the tyranny of precedent. I go for anything new that might improve the past.
Clara broke one of the strongest social barriers of her time by venturing onto the battlefield. Surrounded by danger and death, Clara did what many women would have refused to do. Because she, and other women inspired by her bravery, worked on the battlefield, women after the war gained greater respect from the men they had nursed. Men who had been dying and were visited by Clara Barton often thought they were glimpsing an angel. Unaccustomed to war and violence and far from home, the young soldiers, some as young as 13, would not forget such a visit by a woman who cared for them as a mother. Although she received some opposition from the male officers, Clara found a good friend in Dr. James Dunn, a surgeon for the Union Army. Clara had brought medical supplies to Dr. Dunn at one of the most frantic and overwhelming times for the medical team at the Battle of Antietam, and he greatly respected her commitment and bravery.
In my feeble opinion, General McClellan, with all his laurels, sinks into insignificance beside the true heroine of the age, the angel of the battlefield.
Dr. Dunn held Clara in high regard and gave her the name Angel of the Battlefield. And Clara certainly was an angel, as she cooked food, administered water and medicine, comforted the dying and injured, and provided clean housing for the recovering soldiers. Clara's kindness even extended to the injured Confederate soldiers, and she once reportedly released a bull cow to be slaughtered into the backyard of a house where hungry, injured Confederates were being housed. Clara often spent time writing letters to the families of wounded soldiers, informing them of the injury. This practice of keeping contact with the soldiers' families eventually inspired her to organize the Office of Correspondence with Friends of the Missing Men of the United States, which, after the war, identified 22,000 men who had been killed during the war.
Clara Barton notified my family and me of my son's death through this letter. I would read it to you, but I can't read it. My son was part of the Massachusetts 31st Regiment. He was a very brave man. help to a family. She's a true hero. Thank you, Clara Barton. Thank you.
President Lincoln himself appointed Clara as the head of the office and wrote,
To the friends of missing persons, Miss Clara Barton has kindly offered to search for the missing prisoners of war. Please address her, giving her the name, regiment, and company of any missing prisoner.
One of Clara's biggest tasks during her leadership in the Office of Correspondence was to identify the hundreds of Union soldiers who had died in the infamous Confederate prisoner of war camp, Andersonville. The prisoners of war were forced into open grounds with no shelter from the weather and left there without food or medicine for those who were wounded. Of the 45,000 Union prisoners held there, 22,913 died of starvation or exposure. Clara eventually convinced the U.S. government to allocate a section of land for the Andersonville National Cemetery, which would be a final resting place for almost 13,000 Union soldiers who had died in the filthy prison camp. She was recognized at the opening ceremony and was given the great honor of raising the American flag over the soldiers she had put to rest. Clara Barton greatly changed the lives of many American soldiers, led a barrier-breaking charge that broke the idea that women were not allowed on the battlefield, and provided closure through the missing soldier programs for the thousands of families whose loved ones were missing in action. Her impact was seen in the lives of the people she helped, from soldiers and surgeons to mothers and children. Clara Barton supported her country by aiding its soldiers, comforting the mourning families, and putting the fallen heroes to rest. Clara Barton's greatest long-lasting effect on American society is undoubtedly the founding of the American Red Cross in 1881. While Clara was president of the American Red Cross, it aided victims of floods, fires, famines, tidal waves, hurricanes, and other natural disasters. Clara's vision of helping those in need has spread today to an international level. Nearly every country, inspired by Clara's original establishment, has developed their own Red Cross. But the American Red Cross continues to lead the way in responding to natural disasters all over the world. The Red Cross not only aids disaster victims, but also collects and processes over 50% of the blood donated in the U.S., supports military personnel and families, offers aid to refugees of war, provides education on health and safety, and assists the local needy through community service. The effects of Clara Barton's American Red Cross is seen today, even within the last months and years. The earthquake in Haiti, the tsunami in Japan, the tornadoes in Arkansas and Missouri. In every one of these very recent disasters, the American Red Cross was present and helping, whether it was by serving food, administering blankets, or performing life-saving operations and medical treatment. Clara Barton's establishment has given America a way to reach out to struggling countries. The idea, born in 1881 by Clara Barton, who had risked her life to serve the soldiers of her country, has grown today into one of the most widely respected and recognized humanitarian organizations in the world.
I am from Atsushi, Japan, and my name is Ayumi Yamazaki. My house was destroyed by the tsunami, yet I somehow managed to escape from the churning water with my daughter. It is so cold here, and my little girl has already caught a cold, but right now we are getting medicine and food from the Red Cross.
My name is Anita Bolin. I live in Vallona, Arkansas, and my house was destroyed by the tornado. I've seen the devastation around here the last 2 days, and it makes me cry. I really am very thankful for what the Red Cross does.
My name is Angeline, and I was only 9 years old when the earthquake hit. My leg was badly hurt, and I was coughing up blood when I was found. Some people took me to a hospital an hour and a half away from my home. I was separated from my family for 3 months, but the Red Cross reunited me with my family. It was a dream come true, and I was so happy to be with them again.